Alrighty, welcome to another episode. Today we're going to do something very different, a very non-traditional bolognese. Right, so not traditional, but very tasty, very easy to make. It's currently about 9 o'clock, so I like to do it in the morning and make the sauce. So let it sit on the stove, no heat or nothing, just let it sit there during the day, and then when it comes to serve, just reheat it, so that way you can have more flavour. The secret to making is a really cold sharp knife. So it's pretty cool that it's super even like that. It's nice dust. Like so. And then I'll just apply. So I can transfer it from cutting to where it makes nothing, so it's too good. Okay. And just like so. A little closer to the line, sorry. Cool. Now there's an onion, which is from this, which I have. Let it cut properly, so I'll trim it up. Sweet. Okay, now it's onion chops. 2 to 3 cloves of garlic. They're slightly smaller ones, so I'm going to do 3, and I like a lot of garlic. Cool, and then put this in the garlic. And so I'm just going to chop up as fine as I can and try and dust it, so I'm just going to slice it finely in it. And then just continue on to take little chunks. I just like it to be central, so I get a bunch of garlic throughout the dish. But again, it's good. Just going to dust it aside. I don't go too long because I chop it on warm, I get to chop all this dish. And just doing this, doing this. So I'm going to do this. Very much chopped. And just that aside. Okay. Right, that's my vegetables. We're going to switch it over to the pan and we're going to brown our mince. So we've got our reasonable sized pan here. I'm just going to turn the heat on medium. So I've got an induction here, we've got 4 or 5. Sorry, 5 or 6, sorry. Cool. And I like a bit of olive oil. So a little bit of olive oil. Just to sort of lightly coat the pan. It's probably about a tablespoon. Here's my mince I've prepared earlier. This is just 500 grams of mince, regular old beef mince. So this is not the lean stuff or anything, this is actually the high fat content, completely frosted. So yeah, 500 grams. If you want a larger amount, obviously double it, quite enough oil. And I also like the flavour that the olive oil adds. I'll try and avoid using the range hood if I can because it is quite noisy. If I do have to do it, I'll speed it up. Alright, so we just want to brown that off and to get the fat out of there. Because what we're going to do, once it's all cooked down and the mince is all brown, now we'll drain off the fat. Right, and then also, as you may see here, these are the other ingredients that we do have. So what you're going to need for the sauce, 400 grams, this is 410, close enough, of crushed tinned tomatoes, right, 140 grams of tomato paste, whatever your preference is, this is what I have in the cupboard. Now, what you can do if you like is 2 teaspoons of just regular mixed herbs. What I'd like to do is I'd take it a little bit step further, so I do 1 teaspoon, bit of thyme, bit of oregano, 2 to 3 dried bay leaves that sit in the sauce to simmer, and also a couple of sprigs of rosemary, which I need to go across the road and get. Right, but it's very basic ingredients. Right, this is a good opportunity to season the meat. Alright, so we'll do salt and pepper, nothing fancy. Alright, and just mix all that through. Alright, so that is almost browned up. There's still a little bit of pink mince in there, so I'll just let that go for a little bit longer. Alright, so now that's ready. Alright, so I'll just put that through the strainer. There's not as much fat in this one as I thought there would be. Pull the mince out. Cool. I'm just going to take that off the heat because I do want to go across the road and grab some rosemary. I'll be back in a second. Alright, now I just went across the road and got a couple of sprigs of rosemary. Right, we are now ready to brown the onion. So returning to the heat, and I can see the fan. We want that on about 5 or 6 again. I'm going to dash more oil because I've let that thing cool down a bit. Just a dash. And chuck in the onion. Probably want to let that warm up before you throw it all in, but meh. Okay, and the other thing I did forget to mention is beef stock. So I've just got Menzel cubes. These are quite old, so they're quite hard. So what I'm going to do is I've boiled some water at the end of when I've added in all the sauces and everything. I'm going to fill that with boiling water and then throw my beef stock so it can dissolve, and then I'll add that to the sauce. So that's also what we do is cook all of this off, put in the tins, right, and it's not going to be quite enough to create a sauce, so we refill the containers with water to get all the excess out of obviously out of the tin, and I'm going to also use it to break down my beef stock. So I can hear this starting to sizzle. Right. While that's sizzling, I'm just going to quickly cut up the sprigs of rosemary without the stalk. So once we get a little bit of colour into that, we'll throw in the garlic, and then we can proceed to throw in all the rest of the ingredients. Okay, it's just slightly starting to get a little bit of colour on that, right, as we can see. Only slight. I'm going to throw in my garlic. Right, so I'll put it all in the centre. Right, and it's starting to dry out a little, so I'm going to chuck in a little bit more oil. Okay, so this is starting to get a bit of browning, right? It's got a really nice aroma. I'll have to turn the heat down just a little bit. I'll turn the heat down if you haven't heard me say. Alright, so, yum. Alright, so once I'm satisfied with the colour or the browning, we will go ahead and then add in the mince, and then instantly followed with our cans of crushed tomatoes and tomato paste. Teaspoon already. All that out. Right. And then we mix all that in, and then we proceed with herbs. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. We're going to add in the mince. Alright, so just bring the mince from the sink. I'm just going to tip all that back in. Alright. Mix that in all together. Alright, so also there's a little bit of extra moisture on that mince. It's lifted all the baked on bits on that pan. Alright, so this is good. That's flavour. Okay, followed by a crushed tomatoes. Alright, fill it up with water in a second. Tomato paste. It's a lot of tomato paste. Actually, the last time I did this, I only did 100 grams of tomato paste because they were sachets, and it turned out really well. So don't feel fret if you don't have the exact amount of ingredients. It'll just taste slightly different. Alright. I've got the majority of that. Right, I'm just going to reboil the kettle because I'm going to throw my beef stock into this tin. Right, let's stir all that together. Sauce. Okay, that's what you can like after it's reduced. You don't want to just like this. Just tip all that in there. Yeah, and majority of my beef stock dissolved actually. Alright, so now that's where you want to be at. Really runny sauce. Right. Okay, now we need to reduce this. Obviously, the more we reduce it, the more flavour we have. Right. So now it's really running. I'm going to bump up the heat a little bit to get it vigorous. And we're going to add in some of our herbs and spices now. Alright, so a bit of thyme, just I don't know, teaspoon, give or take. Dash of that, dash of this. Bit of oregano, that'll do. Right. Next, herbs. Pinch more. That'll do. My rosemary, which I'll just stir this in quickly. Grab my rosemary, which is about a good pinchful. That's a bit more yet. That will do, and then my bay leaves. So depending on the size of them, 2 to 3, give or take, but however you fancy. I'm going to put in 4 today. Right, and when you serve, you take these out, obviously. Right, so now it's starting to boil. Right, I'm just going to reduce it a wee bit again, just so it simmers. So basically, you just stir that, season to taste, and that's it. That's bolognese. Right, no jar required. Simple to make. Does take a little bit more time, but the results were very, very worth it. Like now, I know this is not going to be the most flavorous one at the minute, but I can tell you a hell of a lot now. It's going to taste a lot better than a jarred one. Really nice. It is a bit acidity at the moment, still from the tomato. Less tomato paste. Actually, I'm going to go with my golden rule. I'm only going to put in 100 grams, not 140. Alright. So yeah, I did it last time with 100 grams and it turned out to be really, really nice. I'm going to do that. I'm going to use 100 grams, so 2 sachets instead of one of these little tins. But I got these left over, so I'm just going to use them up and then I'll just buy sachets only from now on. Alright, but yeah. So that's really starting to get a vigorous sort of bubbling, which is exactly what we want. Yum. I always look forward to bolognese. And then yeah, so with obviously your favourite pasta, my favourite pasta is angel hair. It takes 3 minutes to cook, very fine, sauce gets all through it, I love it. But serve it with whatever you want. Right. Alright, that's how we make bolognese. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.